As larger geopolitical shocks rattle regional security architectures and frustrate normalization processes across the globe, our own neighborhood is abuzz with activity. So, almost out of nowhere, Mia Sahib Nawaz Sharif returns to his nest on a chartered plane called Umeed-e-Pakistan or Hope of Pakistan. For the uninitiated, the longest serving PM of Pakistan remains mired in massive corruption cases, even though he scores better than his colleagues in stabilizing the country and its place in South Asia. He was in London on a self-imposed exile for the last 4 years, and the current PM, Shehbaz Sharif, is his baby brother. But first, let's get the drama, because there's lots. As if the semantics of Hope of Pakistan weren't corny enough, his arrival provided X, formerly Twitter, with sufficient content. Emotional Kodak moments followed, with his diva daughter and politician Maryam Nawaz and his brother and current PM, Shehbaz Sharif, standing under a canopy of expensive fireworks in full public display. But why has a supposedly ailing Nawaz Sharif decided to return to the very watan he absconded from 4 years ago? Is it merely to instill confidence in his supporters? But things aren't that simple with our country cousins ever. Nawaz has ended his exile to re-enter Pakistani power games, and this time with some preparation. But let's first take a look at the 9 years and 215 days of Nawaz's PMship so far. So, in a country marred by coups where no PM has ever completed their full term of 5 years, Nawaz served for 9 years and 215 days across 3 tenures. Indeed, he had perfected the trivariate appeasement of the 3 A's, Allah, America, and the Army, better than anybody else. The former PM's efforts to stabilize Pakistan's relations with India and South Asia were thwarted by his ouster by General Pervez Musharraf and the subsequent Kargil War in 1999. Though Nawaz returned with a thumping victory in 2013, he soon got mired in corruption charges. That said, his last term did offer some economic stability to Pakistan. Nawaz was a PM who didn't miss an opportunity to make his rivals hot under the collar. So 2 years after his ouster in 2019, he took things too far when he misused the 4-week bail granted to him by Supreme Court and flew to Vilayat. Basically, by then he had miffed the 3rd A of the trivariate appeasement mantra, the Army Generals of Pakistan. Now, a line or two on Pakistan's army. Apart from plotting, waging and losing wars with India and allegedly persecuting the Baloch people, the army keeps itself busy with 2 more tasks. 1, puppeteering the political leadership, and 2, according to the famous Pakistani commentator Aisha Siddiqa, running all kinds of businesses, from cornflakes to cement manufacturing. She has written a wonderful book on that. Take a look. However, in more recent years, what single-handedly ruined Pakistan's fragile economy and infested the country with radicals was no other but Imran Khan and his government. The army's blue-eyed boy at the start, Khan soon alienated the military by publicizing his allegiance to Allah and taking it way too seriously. Moreover, as ties with the United States soured, the former PM turned to richer Muslim countries in the Gulf and China for economic investments. But those too soon turned desperate pleas for bailouts. Pakistani army generals seized that moment and then began the downfall of Imran Khan. He stepped down, but only after some more unprecedented political theatrics. Hope everyone remembers the drama around the no-confidence motion. More violent clashes, sky-high inflation, and abysmally dilapidating foreign reserves. So Shehbaz Sharif replaced Imran Khan Sahab, but the woes of Pakistani Awam and the state have continued. And so has the daredevilry of Imran Khan's supporters, who seem committed to his ideal of Sarkar-e-Madina against the infidels and actually vandalized the army headquarters, the GHQ in Rawalpindi, and a senior general's house in Lahore some months ago. The Pakistani army has seldom been more baffled by backing a self-inflicted disaster in Imran Khan, which allowed a free hand to radicals that are now uncontrollable. What's more, Khan Sahab's popularity seems to remain pretty high too. So it is in this context that the generals are getting the exiled Grand Maestro, the Mia Sahib of Pakistani politics, back into the country. But remember that it was them that made him abscond in the first place too. What does that tell us? For our country cousins, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And what next? Is this a new era for Sharif and the Sheriff? With newfound blessings from the Sheriff, that is the army, Mia Nawaz Sharif has returned as the new hope of Pakistan. So technically, he should have been arrested upon his return. But the army seems to have made it obvious that he is the chosen one by directing the Supreme Court to give him judicial protection. Now, what it means that the army is looking to balance the current hype around Imran Khan and is also hoping to rectify the damage incurred by bringing back Nawaz Sharif. And there's more backdoor preparation happening. Nawaz's promises to improve the dilapidated state of his country fall perfectly in tandem with the army that is also making sure to get Imran Khan charged with another serious corruption case. Now, this case is likely to keep him behind bars for a long time, until he too plans to abscond and keep the tradition alive. And there's more backdoor preparation happening. Nawaz's promises to improve the dilapidated state of his country fall perfectly in tandem with the army that is making sure to get Imran Khan charged with another serious corruption case. Now, this corruption case is likely to keep him behind bars for long, until he too plans to abscond and keep the tradition alive. As for Nawaz, his return has been timed with upcoming elections in Pakistan in 2024, which are already delayed this year. So he is likely to contest and perhaps win too. However, since it is Pakistan, one wouldn't rule out the possibility of a black magic supporter of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf gang launching, say, an attack on Mia Sahib or a similar display of anguish through other means. Anything is possible in the alternate universe of Jinnah Sahib's creation. But what does all this mean for India? Succinctly, Nawaz's re-entry into Pakistan might mean some political stability and better ties with India, perhaps a fresh engagement. He alone in Pakistan right now can rectify the situation with us. After all, under the firelit skies with his daughter and brother by his side and a dove perched on his shoulder for added effect, Nawaz had promised quite as much. And these promises have some merit. In his previous terms, he did reach out to India, although the attempts didn't fructify. In fact, his leaked tussle with the army to stop cross-border terrorism became the real reason for his ouster in 2017. Those are known as the Dawn leaks. Google them. Very interesting. And it should also be remembered that much water has flown since he last served. I don't think New Delhi will be taking anything he says at face value. It will be interesting to see how the Kashmir issue is raked up under Nawaz, who talks of starting a dialogue with India on the issue. But India has already resolved the matter of Kashmir in 2019, a lawfully internal issue. And now New Delhi asks for only one kind of dialogue. That is, stop cross-border terrorism to start talks. Now, whether the Pakistan army, which deploys terrorism as an instrument of statecraft, will make room for that is something that remains to be seen. Now, let's switch our focus to the international situation. So internationally, the big flares are fraught with ever-expanding, disparate and yet entwined crises. A long war in Ukraine and a terrible conflict in West Asia, which is consuming all of Pakistan's friends like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, etc. in the Gulf. And speculation on a third front in the Taiwan Straits also remains high. So Pakistan has, of late, tried to cozy up to the West by supplying weapons to Ukraine and play the other side in Moscow by striking a deal for buying discounted Russian oil in yuan. Islamabad has also tried to position itself as an Indo-Pacific player and got itself an invite to one of the Brussels forums on the region. But such one-off events would not mean much traction for Islamabad in the larger geopolitics of our times. Pakistan is suffering from not one but several internal maladies. Any solution to its penury will not come from a few more billions in aid from here and there. The solution, if at all, lies in the inner folds of its deceptional, delusional identity, which is the core of its despondent being, and none of which is an easy feat. India, on the other hand, is at an exceptional intersectional global moment with rising economic, diplomatic, and defense profile, all with a strong developmental pitch for standing up for the global south. In the many twists and turns of statecraft and power struggles in a very ambivalent world, I will be back with my analyses on the same. Stay tuned.